Good morning, everybody. This is Roger Thunderhands with the Red Road channel on YouTube. And I also have a sister channel or blog on Substack, and I'm going to put the link in the show notes below, the description of this video below, so that you can subscribe there. I would appreciate it if you would. And the subscriptions are free. And if you want to support this channel, you can always upgrade to a paid subscription. Now, having said that, let's get on with this video. Today I'm going to make this video about, let's say, phenomenon that is being observed right now on the East Coast and around the nation. If you haven't picked up on it, you can probably just type in drones on the East Coast or whatever, and you will get all kinds of news stories from the news media about a situation that has been occurring now for, at least 2-3 weeks, maybe even longer. Now, to the new subscribers on this channel, I'm going to deviate here a little bit from the normal routine of promoting the indigenous people or exposing people to the indigenous people and their beliefs and their history. And what I'm going to do today is go off topic just a little bit. However, the indigenous people do believe in Star Brothers and the Star Nation, and I've done videos on this. So it is not that far off topic, and it can be correlated. So getting to the point here, there's been all kinds of sightings. I'm just going to speak bluntly here. Also, I would like to qualify myself as a pilot and a flight instructor for a half a decade. So I know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about airspace and that type of thing. So what we have right now is a bunch of UFOs or UAPs or drones or whatever you want to call them all over the East Coast. That is not an understatement. People are pulling out their iPhones and taking pictures of these craft that are flying around over the cities and near, let's say, military air bases, and even over the golf course that Trump plays golf on. And these drones, everybody's calling them a drone. Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. There's a difference between a drone and a flying vehicle that is the size of a car. That's what some of the reports and some of the videos being shown actually show that it is a larger vehicle. It is a larger, let's say, space vehicle or aircraft. And they're coming in over the cities, and they've been spotted in New Jersey, they've been spotted in New York, they have been spotted in Pennsylvania, and other areas around the country. But the main concentration seems to be coming from the East Coast right now. People are starting to get upset. People are starting to almost maybe even go into panic mode because these things are something they haven't seen before or on this scale. Now, I've seen these videos, and these videos are showing mostly a triangular-shaped vehicle. A triangular-shaped vehicle. Let me show you a quick photo here of the TR-3B. Now, if you're in the aviation community, or say the UFO community or ufologist community, you are familiar with this vehicle. This vehicle is operated on the principles of mercury and a nuclear component that produces a plasma, a sort of plasma around the vehicle, which makes it an anti-gravitational vehicle. Which means that if it's anti-gravitational and it has a thrust system, there are no limits to the speed that this thing can go and the places that it can, let's say, maneuver in. The places that it can maneuver in. All the videos that I've seen seem to indicate this particular triangular device or aircraft. Now, let's just look at this from the point of view of the narrative that is being spun out there. All the news stations, all the small little news stations like ABC and NBC, the local affiliates, and Fox News, ABC, NBC, Fox News, they're all reporting the same narrative. And here is what it is. All these vehicles are flying all over the place, over cities and in restricted areas. And by restricted areas, as a pilot, I can tell you, you cannot fly into a restricted zone like a military air base. And possibly they may even have the place where Trump plays golf in New Jersey most likely is labeled as a restricted airspace that you cannot fly into and that you need permission to fly into. But let's just rule out the restricted airspace component for a minute, and let's talk about just airspace over cities. When you fly an aircraft into an airspace over a city, you have to fly by direction from air traffic control. ATC, air traffic control. You have to be in contact with them. You have to have a transponder, a radar transponder. Now, a radar transponder is a little electronic device about the size of a radio, or smaller nowadays, where you punch in a 4-letter code which sends out a signal to air traffic control, and they identify you as that particular transponder being on a particular airplane, which they can also identify with radar. So in order to fly over a city, you have to contact air traffic control, and you have to have a transponder. You have to be equipped with certain electronic devices in your aircraft. There are also altitude limits. You cannot fly below a certain altitude. Let's say, off the top of my head, I think I remember it as being like 500 feet above or diagonal to or away from a populated area. Now, drones have different type of restrictions. They don't want you flying too high because they don't want you interfering with aircraft. They don't want you flying your drone too high. So they require that you fly below a certain altitude. My point here being is that all of this is controlled. It's all controlled. Now here's the narrative that's coming out on the news, and this narrative is being parroted or repeated over and over on every news channel. I think I've watched at least 15 different news channels on the reports of this. And they are all saying the same thing. And what are they saying? The government doesn't know. All these people are concerned. They're calling the cops. They're calling the sheriffs. They're calling their local authorities. These things are buzzing their house. They're coming close. And the people are like, what is this? It's annoying. Is this a military operation? If it is, let us know. Because they do have military operations like Jade Helm. That's a whole nother story. But people want to know. And the answer is, I think it was the New Jersey governor and other governors, or mayors, maybe it's mayors, some governors, are coming out and saying, we've been told that there is nothing to worry about. That's the first statement. And then the second statement is, but we don't know what it is. Well, those two statements are contradictory. A fool could see that. So if you say you don't know what it is, how do you know that there's nothing to be worried about? You can't have those two statements in the same sentence or the same paragraph. We don't know what it is, but there's nothing to be worried about, and we're looking into it, and there will be an investigation. This is all nonsense, people. This is all a narrative. You don't let aircraft. This is like a situation that could be an emergency. Let's just say, for example, that it was a foreign country that had invaded our airspace and completely shut down. There's only two possibilities, or three at the most, with this, just to put your mind at ease. I'm here as a wisdom keeper to give you intel or information that you may not know, because people that are not pilots and are not into aviation and are not into even electronic warfare. And I think I got a pretty good track record with all this stuff. And I have talked about this stuff in earlier videos, much earlier, like maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago. So I can see why people might get upset, and I'm telling you not to get upset. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I'm informing you as to what this could possibly be. There's only three things that this could be. Number one, and probably this is what it is. This is a controlled operation, a mind control operation, to condition people to seeing things in the sky, I'm back here, that they wouldn't normally see, okay? Now, I've talked in the past about fake alien invasions and things of this nature. And this is a topic in the UFO community, or let's say the UFO enthusiast community, or people that are interested in intergalactic stuff or just the cosmos in general, and try to keep themselves educated. This has been talked about before, and I've talked about this again in many videos in the past. A controlled operation would mean that this is the government's aircraft, advanced technology, coming down and making appearances, like even over the White House or in Washington. There's been sightings there as well. New Jersey, the White House, New York, Pennsylvania. Even in California, one was spotted supposedly over a meeting where the Secretary of Defense was having a meeting out in Silicon Valley or something. If there are aircraft like this around, the government knows what it is, or the government is actually controlling this operation. A mind control operation to get you acclimated to the idea that you're going to start seeing things in the sky that you won't believe, which could set you up for a fake alien invasion. A fake alien government-produced invasion. Okay, that's option number one. Option number two is it could be a foreign country with advanced technology that has had about enough of the hegemony of the American West and their uppity attitude, and is coming in here in mass with advanced technology, electronic warfare systems, and drones to send a message or to shut things down, or let's say to just do a surveillance on the place. This is not something that should be ruled out. That's option number 2. Option number 3 is the Star Brothers, the Star Nation. As an indigenous person, I can tell you that our ancestors were thoroughly convinced that the Star Nation had all kinds of effects on the lives of the people on the planet, all right? The indigenous people did all kinds of things like line up their kivas, let's say in Chaco Canyon or Canyon de Chelly or any one of these ancient Pueblo dwelling places, always lined up their kivas with the stars. It was either Orion's belt or the Pleiades, sometimes called the harmonious ones, or the seven sisters, because there's 7 planetary stars or objects out there that make up the Pleiades. They have always been in tune with and had reverence for the cosmos, and the Star Brothers are Star Nation. And there's even stories from the Hopi people regarding the gourd of ashes. That's one thing. That's nuclear. That has to do with nuclear. But they also had other gourds that they talked about that were flying gourds. And they also talked about the wuya, or the, let's say the advanced medicine men, that weren't actually medicine men, but some were actually believed to be Star Brothers or the Star Nation. This can be found running through many, many indigenous teachings on the East Coast, in the Southwest, all over the planet. And that is a topic that sometime I might dig deeper in for this channel, which will involve pictorials and a deeper dive into that. But let's just suffice it to say that that is totally something that is accepted by the indigenous people of this land. So there is your 3 options that I can think of. Now, let's say that it's option 1. The government is controlling all this. It's a psychological operation. It's a mind control operation. That wouldn't surprise me at all, because that's what exactly was done with the whole medical emergency thing and the lockdowns. This might be just another excuse for lockdowns and people to get terrorized and afraid and panicked and in fear. You have to realize that any time a government pulls an operation like that, it's for a 2 or 3-pronged purpose. The first being is control, mind control, and obedience and following orders, that type thing. And don't think for 1 minute that the masses out there, a lot of them are just plain stupid, or let's say naive. I'll cut them a little slack and just say naive about any kind of matters concerning mind control or manipulation of the masses. And because they are all in a trance anyway, going to work every day, coming home, doing their routine. It's almost like they don't want to be bothered with stuff. It's almost like, it isn't almost like, it is a fact that they are in denial. They're in denial. They don't want to hear about it. It might upset their day. Now, this is the thing that I want to emphasize, is that people shouldn't panic. They shouldn't get out of control. And they better think twice about following any orders from the government concerning this. You should stay in your own space. You should retain your own power of thought and thinking and lucid thinking, and remain in a balanced and grounded attitude. When all else fails, you ground yourself to Unsi Maka, or Mother Earth, or Grandmother, who is the consciousness, the ruler, the supreme consciousness and ruler, in conjunction with Great Spirit, or the Spirit that moves in all things, or the higher consciousness. It's all one, but we're standing on the planet, we're standing on Mother Earth, and there's all kinds of situations going on right now. The timing of this is also very telling, because the world is in a situation right now where we have wars everywhere, and in case you don't follow this stuff, which you probably don't, a lot of people, the war in Ukraine is being won by Russia, and the West is freaking out about that. The war in Israel is at a high-pitched rate of escalation. The war in the Middle East in general, with the recent taking of and downfall of Syria and Bashar al-Assad, and just the whole planet in general is in upheaval right now. What would be a better time for the Star Brothers to come in and take control? Because there have been stories in the past, okay, that are authentic concerning unidentified flying objects coming in and hanging out around nuclear silos and military bases and completely shutting them down. This is fact. Shutting down all the operations and the electronics for that facility so that it is just a complete dud. It couldn't hurt anybody. And they've done this for like hours. 6 to 8 hours, long periods of time, and then just left. This is documented by the U.S. military. So if, let's say, this is the Star Brothers, and I hope you are back, brothers and sisters, because we really need it right now, that would be a real nice thing. That would be something not to panic about, but to something to rejoice about. As far as it being a government operation, you can choose to panic or not panic, but if you're standing in a balanced and grounded state, it's like the Taoists say, be still and let the world form around you. Because there's nothing you can do about it. It's out of your control. So that's my advice on that situation, on the government situation. Don't let events sway and control your mind and set you into a state of anxiety and panic. It's not helpful, people. It doesn't matter what these fools do. Let them play their games. It's up to you to just be more concerned about your fellow man and your family and your own well-being, as far as remaining calm and centered and not letting the events of this world induce some type of psychosis, mass psychosis, like what was done with COVID. And knock everybody off balance and create utter chaos in the mind at least. And possibly if panic ensued, it could also affect not just the mind, but the physical being around you and your circumstances around you. Whatever the case, it's better to trust in Great Spirit and in trust in your own power. Don't give your own power away. And just reflect on some of the things I'm saying, because I'm taking the wisdom keeper mode today. It's up to medicine men and wisdom keepers and shaman to make sure that the people are informed, and especially the people I love on this channel. I mean, the people that are into the indigenous nation and the people that are into the colorful past of the natives of this land. I'm all for you. So it would be remiss of me not to have made this video and at least tell you my thoughts, because I've been down this road a long time. I've been talking about this kind of stuff for a long time. Hell, I even predicted the pandemic in 2014. Not beating my own drum here, I'm just telling you I have a track record. And it comes from a higher source, let's put it that way. I'm always getting downloads. I saw this coming a long time ago. I talked about this. Now here's another thing. All this stuff could disappear tomorrow. Let's say all of a sudden the sightings stop and these things just disappear out of the sky, and it's as if they were never there, all right? It ends tomorrow, let's put it that way. No more sighting. The sightings are all ramping up now. They're coming in all over the place. People are getting excited, taking pictures of it and all that type thing. But if this stuff was to disappear tomorrow, people have the attention span of a gnat. All right? A week of this stuff being gone and people will be right back into their same routines like it never happened before. But that doesn't stop the fact that they were conditioned to see something that they couldn't explain and that the government couldn't explain to them. The precious oligarchs and deep state and people that are in control of the situation. The people will go right back to their same routine, I guarantee it. But it doesn't matter, because the operation has already been pulled off and the people's minds have already been conditioned to expect something unexplainable. And this could just very well be the actual false alien invasion or the setup for the false alien invasion. Here's another thing that you want to consider. The real Star Brothers, the real Star Nation, if they see that some government on Earth is, like, let's say, making them look bad and they're not bad, they're not going to like that. They're not going to like being impersonated, all right, using their aura or their energy or their what people think of them. They're not going to want to be impersonated. And I don't think that they would take very kindly to that. So anyway, I think I've covered just about everything here from A to Z. And you can trust me as an aviator and a pilot and somebody that is into space research and looks into technology. You can trust me. So it's one of three things. It's either the government, the real deal with Star Brothers and Sisters, or a fake alien invasion, a conditioning thing. And again, just as a last glimpse here, this is the TR-3B. There's many aircrafts. They develop They develop these aircraft at places like Area 51, Groom Lake, and other secret military bases around the world. And we don't know who has these or who doesn't have these. There is no proof positive except photographs taken by amateur UFOologists or ufologists and enthusiasts and other people that are credible. So anyway, I had to comment on this today. I hope you take this for the, in the spirit that it was given, just as a warning. Just as a warning, because there's too much stuff, too much chaos, too much confusion, too much. And finally, if the government says they don't know what this is, they are blatantly lying. They know what it is. On any of the three options that I mentioned, they know what it is, because if they don't know, then that means that the whole air traffic control system and the radar system and the defenses, the air defense system for the United States is toast. And so that's a big leap. That's a big leap to think that the United States of America doesn't know about a bunch of aircraft and drones. And basically, these are not drones. These are unidentified flying objects. Let's get back to the regular good old term, a UFO. So again, I'm going to leave it there. If you like this channel, subscribe and support it, and I will get back to my normal. Again, this is kind of a rare thing. It's kind of hard for me to let this go by when I see something like this. I will get back to the normal deep dive into the indigenous people of this nation and their culture and their history. And this is also very relevant to even this actual event that's happening now. So I'll leave it there today. This is Roger Thunder saying Whoopila and Aho.